So what I found is that when a psychedelic integration happens, the world stops being just the thing that changes around you. And you realize that you can change the world around you. You can change your entire basis of yourself in a way that can benefit you. You can learn how to do that. I guess I would have to lay out the model. I feel like normal life, you're in the flesh. Um, the whole flesh life can be itself its own quest of a journey. Um, but without the society around it that provides the knowledge that these psychedelics do, like if our society did provide that knowledge, maybe we wouldn't need the psychedelic at all. But since our entire society has no basis for proliferating exemplification, being an example, and we need these tools to be able to ourselves not lose our path with everyone else, and to teach out of it. That's the process of becoming an angel. The way to teach is to know, like, the way to teach this stuff is to know what works for you. What works for you will work for other people because they're also you. That's what you need to understand. That's how you need to understand other people being you. What works for you will work for them. And also, what, like, hearing other people say being free, singing out there, you look over and you're like, wow, I feel more free. That's something that you can be a beacon of. That singer. You have the tools. We all have the capability to be singers, but some of us just shy away, and they throw it away because they don't think they have what it takes for the whole career of it, But they're just tools, and the voice is the most important tool I've found for self-transformation. Chapter 2. This self-transformation is more it's more effective. Chill. Oh, my nose. Ignore that happened. Oh. The self-transformation. I can't even remember what I was gonna say. Shit. Oh. Doing anything will upgrade your transformation. You just gotta interact with it. If you've never been to touch a redwood, this is totally off point for what I was about to say, but it's all good. Tangent will lead around, as it does with me. Redwood. If you've never touched a redwood before, you're missing out. They're the best tree on earth that I've found. They help you heal. And the thing is, I punch trees, so I know that for a fact. it's about the way you interact with it. That's how it circles around. It's about the way you interact with the tree. You see, when it has the texture that it does, it like crunches in with these layers that when you push in, you literally it teaches you how to use yourself, how to use the ligaments in your hand properly to heal. That's what healing is. That's how healing is done. It's interaction, um, plus an object that teaches better interaction, infinite better interaction, like psilocybin or these redwood trees, um, or any natural psychedelic. Stick natural. I haven't gone into synthetics other than the since the 30s existing acid, which I've taken twice. I see psilocybin as something that's existed throughout history and is potentially, therefore, but also just in and of itself. It's spread throughout the galaxy. Something that can communicate the beings, that it can generate communion with the beings of the galaxy. It's like the membrane of the cold, uh, the vibration. It's all about your interaction. It's teaching. That's how you teach other people. Once you find these things, you will know what you know, and you will know it works because it works like God sent for you. It works like you're making yourself an angel while you're doing it. It works for you. That's when you start going and teaching people what you do. We have all these amateurs and how-tos, and even me in my past. It's a matter of interaction. That is how you heal. That is how you do yourself better. No one thinks that that's even like a thing. You can do yourself better. You can always upgrade. You can always find more passion, more of a reason for these words. How deep are you looking? If you ever truly looked at, I've definitely said this, but it's so powerful. It's really important. Um, have you ever looked at the surface of a pond? Holy mother of God. Oh, that shit. Damn. We've done some crazy shit looking at the surface of a pond. Potentially generated multidimensional objects in the surface of that pond. Is some crazy focus shit. When you focus like crazy, you can actually like break through and like find crazy shit. It's not just this boring slave life that they gave us, and that's the fucking thing that just tears me apart every day. Every single person is just being abused every single day. It's literally a matter of fact. Everyone's being abused nowadays. We are all gods, but they literally changed the game and rewrote all of paradigmatic understanding. Now we have new generations that have completely taken over the or taken upon themselves this new way of life, this new paradigm, and it's all they have. And then they try to integrate the psychedelic, but then they're with all their friends who are still a bunch of assholes, and then I think, oh god, this shit's some bad shit or something, and then it's a bad trip for sure. And then because they lost the belief that you have control. that you generate what is experienced. And with this understanding, you can change what is experienced in order to change your life. For instance, I started whistling with, I was in the forest and I was just walking down this trail. I was sober relatively, and I was traveling down the trail, went along the riverside, and the whole way the birds were with me. Um, then, in a trippy sort of way, the birds started like seeming to try to. They were responding to my presence there. I noticed the change. Like when I sat down, they were more like comfortable or something. They were more. They're like, he's here to partake in the environment, not just like walk through and like talk and make a bunch of noise. And so I started whistling for like the next like 3 hours with the birds, and ever since, um, near the end of it, I stood up and stretched, and something happened during that stretch. It was crazy, actually. It was the perfect stretch, and I I don't know how to explain it. It was indescribable. Um, but beyond that, I um, it wasn't related. Like the stretch was fantastic. I feel like that was just potentially the best stretch I've ever done in my life. Um, and it was just like so aligning that I was also already in this really deep place in like this highly contextualized way that it just spawned this crazy thing of all these constructs and stuff. But the the birds thing. Ever since, basically, I earned treasure that day after whistling with the birds for 3 days, 3 hours. Um, I earned this place with the birds within myself, so that anytime a bird just floats around now, it just comes out of me. I whistle, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. The ability to dial into exactly what you want and to just have it become natural. And what you really want will filter itself through on psilocybin. I can guarantee you that. You'll find yourself either singing, drawing, fixing your fucked up hair, which is now somehow incredibly fixable, fixing your posture, all self-care and self-upgrading things. Chapter 3. True self-transformation. Let's go into the actual topic. Using your voice. With psilocybin, I found I had this one very, 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 very powerful trip in which the peak had just passed, and I was like, oh man, like, where do I go from here? Um, and it was in that moment I realized I have the power to generate this. I have the power to make my universe fantastic. And that was when I started singing like a conductor of the forest. um, and there's some crazy emotions coming through me at the time. uh, this is like 2 months ago, and At the time, there was like snot drooling down my nose and just pouring out my face. Forgive the laughter. Forgive the laughter. It was pouring down my face, and it was the out or there were two layers of it. The one outer layer was purple. This is crazy, like neon purple. That's what I was seeing it as, neon-y. And it had patterns in it that were going one way. You can see my fingers, and had multi-dimensional green going the other way. It was like, and they were forming like a cyclone of, because it was not, and it was too conical, more or less parabolacularly conical, parabolacularly conical. If you can understand that word, thank you. That was the snot, and the colors of it were particularly notable, green and purple, because after singing, when I realized with singing, let's go into this first, actually. Let's just say it first. I earned this treasure chest at the end of it. That was, the box was, it wasn't a box, but it was like a box. It was all this, and I had like a curl going down. I wasn't sure if it was a hand. And there were lines on it that were like waves, and then they opened up almost like eyes, but that was later in the trip. That was when I was understanding things. The universe was like, oh shit. And they opened up. And he says what was going on. And, but to earn this treasure, that granted me immaculate singing capacity for until my next trip, where I kind of treated it differently and it changed my aura. Use your hands, use your fingers. That's a big one. The voice. With psilocybin, after a long period of laughter and different things, my lungs accumulated a thing in a certain way that created a type of channeling. I could literally feel like a channeling of, it was like a coil. I mean, not a I said this so stereotypically, just don't think of the way I just said that. It formed a literal like coil. I could feel it was like a coil going up my self when I used it. And I realized later that putting together the idea, if you run electricity through a coil, the physics thing, if you run electricity through a coil, it generates an electromagnetic field. Or magnet. Either way, it's electromagnetism. And so, after treating my lungs right for this while leading up to it, it built up this coil. When I started singing with that coil, I was able to dive into my aura, and I found treasure at the end of it. I wasn't trained in this area. It was an incredibly fortuitous happening that I stumbled upon treasure and came out incredible afterwards. Came out way better. I didn't, I mean, like basically it was just me singing so freely that I ended up somewhere in a very much higher place and wasn't necessarily needing direction or anything like that. Maybe that's the absolute proper approach. Maybe any way of doing it differently, with a different intention, will just lead you anchorless. I feel like it's important to send it high and not modify it. Just let it flow through you, because without your, people have this fucked up idea of ego, And I feel like if you lose your ego, you lose your soul and all like that. But that's not true. That's just if you have bad acid and different bad chemicals and like Molly and different things that fuck you up amidst amidst a society that proliferates horrible paradigms and modalities of living. This is true. Aloe vera juice. Get it, you look at those farmers back in it. Oh, fuck. Fuck, how much time do I have? 6 minutes. 5 minutes. 5.5 minutes. Thoughts, patterns, and stuff. Psychedelic integration. Chapter 4. The lesson of the phoenix. Drink aloe vera juice. Literally the best. Best chapter. Chapter 5. Drawing. Drawing. There are so many ways to use your pen. There's so many ways to what was it? What's the word? To portray meaning. So many ways to portray meaning. I don't even have to say words to portray meaning. For example, I just missed. For another example, I'm a clumsy motherfucker. And shit happens all the time. The breath out is way more important than the breath in. For your conscious, it's just a bad way to put it. Focus on the breath out, and it will cycle you back into the breath in, and you will find this winding up of a thing. It becomes the thing. Something happens. Wind up the drama. It's way too hot in there. Your voice carries the access way into your aura. An access way allows integration, transformation, and different approaches towards integration, different ways of analyzing the situation. The situation's right there, and you're like, all right, here's where we're going. And then from there, you grant that treasure in that specific PhD of an area. You go out and take to the world the proof of God's fantastic nature. The authentic nature. That the elites are destroying the world, manipulating and controlling the population, the paradigm, into something that it completely isn't, in order to survive in the face of. Oh, why are all these guys the ones that the girls actually like? Oh, it's probably because these girls need manipulation. It's the proper way to approach it, probably. Just soak in your adrenochromes later, I suppose. Anyways, in the name of sanity, breathe in and breathe out. Well, focus on the breath out and allow it to cycle into the breath in. And it will transform into greater things. And the point about that is, if you forgot about the breath in, the breath out is still the potential. It carries